Everything that happens in life can happen in a show. You can make them laugh, you can make them cry. Anything, anything can go. The clown with his pants falling down, or the dance that's a dream of romance, or the scene where the villain is mean. That's entertainment.
Quality of merchandise by examining the backside first.
All hail Cleopatra, kindred of Horus and Ra, beloved of the moon and sun, daughter to Isis, and of Upper and Lower Egypt, queen.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the channel where we study the laws of our mind. You know, it's good to know them because they're principle and they are governing your life. You know, like gravity, it goes up, it comes down. Like water goes to the lowest point, okay? This is principle. You don't fight it, you work with it. You fight it, and it just overcomes you. You know, and you don't do that. You get out of the way. So today, the patrons had brought up some interesting things about some fiction and, you know, concerns about watching such things and things like that. Breaking Bad, you know, or Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And the idea is to understand the meaning behind the story. When you go to watch something, you don't realize it because it's just a habit, but you suspend your belief. You know, you might have said during a movie when you were a little kid, you know, that can't happen. You're supposed to pretend it's happening. You know, hush. And you learn to suspend your belief. But, you know, there's always a few to prove the rule that, you know, they still do it. Yeah, there's not any blue people swimming around. Yeah, I know. Let's just, you know. So when you go to see some kind of entertainment, you suspend your belief. And that means you have an open mind. You set aside your beliefs. Now, when you go to watch these things, you make a judgment about them, you know, and it's usually, man, I really like that story. That's a good story, you know, and man, what's up with that? You know, like my kids love to watch wrestling, and it was funny how The Rock was the bad guy, and then The Rock became the good guy, and we would laugh, you know. I'm like, that's how it always is. Everybody has a good and a bad, you know, and so it's that melding together of these things, you know, and it's characters being shown in a movie or a play or written in a book or whatever. And that is what we're doing. We're playing characters on this stage. It's like Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players with their own exits and their own entrances. Okay, and you applaud them for their effort, whatever they did, you know? And it really has to be taken that way. It's a way of thinking. In this way, you are detached from the outside world, you know, and, you know, for me, it's always, you know, well, would I like that? No? Okay. You know, God forbid. So, you know, you put yourself into it, and you literally are playing a character. And the character can flip and flop and, you know, be different things at different times. And this is what we see in Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, with Spike, and how, you know, it's the story of King Arthur. Basically, they are on opposite ends. They come together, they work together, they admire and respect each other, and now they're falling for each other, you know. And he wants to be better. He wants to be a better man for her. So he's going to be his best, you know, and he's working so hard towards that. And this is our story. That's our story. Now, stories like Breaking Bad are about, you know, here is a good man who was thrown into extraordinary circumstances and rose to the occasion. And he didn't let anything stop him. You know, and you're not going to mess with me. Got it? Good. And you fell in love with him because he didn't care. You know, he doesn't care what your laws are. He doesn't care about any of that. You know, I'm looking at my last days, and I'm not going to take all that money and give it to a bunch of fucking doctors. I don't think so. You know, I'm going to fuck the doctors. You know, I know how to make meth. You know, who cares? There's a market for it. I'll be a supplier. You know, it'll pay well. And he's calm and cool and collected about it. It's not like, oh my God, I have cancer, I got to do this. No, he's that self-assured, confident, you know, even though he's working on the illegal side, you admire him, you respect him. He thinks about it. You know, this is why we love shows like, you know, movies like The Godfather. They stop, they think about it. This is about family, you know. There's, you know, for example, Ponzi scheme is the illegal side, and insurance company is, you know, the legal side. Is everybody pitching in to help others do better and have funds available to them in times of trouble. Okay. Now, it's how you apply it, right? So it has to keep growing. And so they call it a Ponzi scheme when somebody stops helping make it grow. And on the insurance side, it's called a loss. They're doing the same thing. Okay. It's just on the two sides. So it doesn't matter which side. You can admire and respect the one that, you know, is doing it on the bad side. So, for example, Lucky Luciano was like that. You know, that was what The Godfather was kind of based upon, was Lucky Luciano and the New York families. And he's the one who turned it like into a corporation. And we're the board of directors. Okay. You know, and this is our business. And he was very much against the drug business. That was dirty business. Okay, that was dirty, you know, because you don't deal in what you're dealing. Okay, and people would do that. And that ain't no good. So no, I don't want that around the families. I don't want that around. It steals people's creativity. Was his point. They need to be sharp and on top of it. You know, and he didn't want to do that kind of business. And so, you know, more of the other guys did. It all falls apart in the end. But that's why we like it. Because they were confident. You could see they were getting away with it for everybody. Everybody knew they were doing it. But they still got away with it. Until somebody blinked. You know, somebody doubted. Somebody got scared. Okay, it's principle. So these shows don't really do anything. It's not like you're participating in it. You suspend your belief and then you judge it. You know, well, God forbid anything like that happen. But, you know, man, that's some calm, cool, collected stuff. I want to be like that. You know, I want to be calm, cool. And it's to inspire. to help you. Who do you identify with in the show? Who, for lack of a better term, do you identify with, who you resonate with, or who triggers you? These are the ones that you look at, because they're telling you something about yourself. So I hope this helps. You shouldn't worry about it. Really, you've spent an hour or 2 or 3 watching stuff, and you will think about it, but you put it in the right perspective. Well, God forbid anything come from that. That show was just great. Those actors were wonderful, and I really dig that character, and oftentimes you'll just see someone and you'll go, that's the character, and you've identified with it. And it's good to follow it so that it was that way for me when I saw Excalibur, and it was Merlin. That was it. He was the greatest. He was in that movie. So I hope this helps. Don't worry about the fiction so much as understand what the fiction is telling you. There's people who got into their imaginative, creative juju, or they did not. Okay, that's the point. Cleopatra, the recent release, is not a work of art. It's trash. This person was not in their creative, imaginative juju. Okay, they weren't. They had an agenda. Whereas go watch Cleopatra with Liz Taylor, Richard Burton, and Rex Harrison. That was creative, imaginative juju going on. Beautiful. Well, I hope this helps. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for being you.
Or the bride with the guy on the side.
Or the ball where she gives him her all. That's entertainment.
The plot can be hot, simply teeming with sex.
A gay divorcee who is after her ex.
It could be Oedipus Rex,
Where a chap kills his father and causes a lot of bother.
The clerk who is thrown out of work.
By the boss who was thrown for a loss.
by the skirt, who is doing him dirt.
The world is the stage is the world of entertainment.